Welcome to today's Clarity and Focus session. We're going to be talking about client indoctrination, why it's important, how to structure it. I'm going to talk about the concepts of indoctrination through a sales process, and more importantly, we're going to be talking about some cool things that are coming up to be able to maximize your opportunity to convert more clients using some very cool pieces that we've developed on a training that's coming up. So welcome to our Clarity and Focus session. And today we're talking indoctrination. So we've got a whole bunch of people joining us. Thank you for joining us. All these sessions are placed up on the YouTube channel. We also place them up into the Consulting Unleashed Facebook group. If you go to consultingunleashed.com, consultingunleashed.com/go, then you'll be able to access the YouTube channel, the Facebook group, and also all the other resources we have available for you at Consulting Unleashed. So let's talk indoctrination and what I guess indoctrination means. Indoctrination is a relationship building process. It's a process of educating a client, giving the client a level of certainty, understanding about what you do, how you work, what you deliver, the types of results that you can help people with. Because right now, the number one commodity that most people have in business is trust. Trust is something that is absolutely vital in business. And if we're in the marketing world, we have actually burnt a lot of bridges, and we've hurt a lot of people because a lot of people in the game have not delivered on their promises, or they haven't really delivered outstanding customer service in the marketplace. And that's because there's a lot of people, the barrier to entry in the sales and marketing or the agency game is very low. The skill level is varied because there's no real place you can go, and you can't go to college and learn how to be a Facebook advertiser. You can't go to college and learn how to run Facebook ads, how to do social media, build social media marketing campaigns. A lot of universities and colleges around the world really don't teach those programs. So there are a lot of people out there who've developed coaching and training programs that teach people how to do these things. But a lot of the skills and the things that we do are all learned by experience, by our knowledge and experience. So more and more people are going to demand more from you. They're going to demand more evidence from you of your capabilities and your skills. They're going to demand more of the fact that you comply. Things like insurance, having errors and omissions insurance is going to be important. If you don't have errors and omissions insurance, then some companies will not employ you because they want to make sure that if you make a mistake, that they have recourse, that you are covered for making a mistake, where they have recourse, and the fact that you're insured is also going to become part of your education or showing people that you are a professional company, right? Having insurance, having agreements. There are so many businesses in our world that don't have any agreements. If you don't have an agreement with a client, you are leaving yourself open for litigation. There are so many companies that sue their marketing agencies for the littlest things, take them to court, ask for full refunds, even though work has been delivered. All those risk factors. So the trust issue right now is a really big one. And you can build trust very, very quickly. You can take the philosophy of the idea of adding value first, or coming with value first, helping and solving people problems, being the friend, the old saying. A friend of mine, Alan McGovern, used to always say this: to have a friend, you have to be a friend first. So you want to come from the position of delivering value to the marketplace, then you're going to get better results and better outcomes for what you do in terms of what you do. So trust is really important. Things like case studies, testimonials, stats, results, having non-disclosure agreements to protect your client's assets and IP, and also to protect your assets and your IP, right? But the number one thing that you need to be very clear about is that you need to be able to deliver your clients either a great result or an outstanding result, at least a good result, right? You want to be able to deliver a service or a product to the market where you are giving them a result that creates a connection to some form of return on investment, or that they accept the value. This idea of perceived value, it's not about perceived value anymore. It's about the real value, the actual acceptance of the value you deliver to the market. So why is indoctrination important? Indoctrination builds all those things. It builds the ability for people to trust, but it also educates. It gives people more context and understanding of your capabilities, what you do, and more importantly, how you help them, what they are being helped with. So I'm going to share my slides, going to go through a couple of slides with you, and then I'm going to talk about how we indoctrinate through the sales process. So let's just go sharing our screen here. We're going to open this up, and I'm just sitting up right there in the corner. We're going to hit play. Okay, so client indoctrination is what we're talking about. So one of the things that you want to think about is building the know, like, and trust. So that's essentially what we're doing with indoctrination. The more I see you, the more visible you are, the more touch points you have, the more you get to know me and understand me, the more I like you. I like people who take an interest in what I have to offer and what I'm doing in the market. If they're taking an interest in me, then I tend to take an interest in them. It is no different. This is one of the easiest ways to get clients, is take an interest in what your client is doing. And perhaps there are some ways in which you can help that client do better with the things that they're interested in. That's the idea. That's one idea, is by adding value of taking interest. Stephen Covey's concept of seek to understand first and then seek to be understood. Seek to understand and seek to be understood. Chapter 4, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Great book to read, right? So from a sales point of view or from a client engagement point of view, that level of understanding is critical. One of the things that we did with our agency is we sent our entire customer success team to interview over 100 clients. And that interview was about a 90-minute interview, and we recorded every single interview. And we basically asked a whole bunch of questions from our clients. And one of the questions we asked them was, why did you choose our Facebook advertising agency over all the other Facebook ad guys that have approached you in the past? Why did you choose to buy with us and not choose them? Because some of the people that approached them were probably really good at what they did. They probably might have even been better at Facebook marketing than what we were, but we don't know, right? But there was a reason why they didn't choose. And this was the #1 reason. In fact, it came back every single time. The reason why we didn't choose those companies is we felt that they really didn't understand our business. They were more interested in generating leads or doing what they were doing than actually caring about how we do business, what our patients are all about, why we're here in the first place. They just didn't seem to care enough to understand what we did. And because they didn't understand, then there was no way we were going to invest money with them. That's a key point, right? That if you do not understand the business that your client is in, if you do not understand some of the gaps, the frustrations, the challenges, what's going on in their market, it's going to be very difficult for you to build that rapport in helping them understand, right? One of the things that I've said, if you really want to understand a market, go to Amazon, download the top 5 books, the 5 bestsellers that talk about that industry. It might talk about a person's biography or experience in that industry. It might talk about how to manage businesses in that industry. It might talk about some of the research or industry statistics, but get the top 5 books, read those top 5 books, and you're going to be smarter than, you're going to be 1% smarter than anybody else in that industry. In fact, you're going to know more about that industry than most people who are in the industry have already known or have dealt with over the years of experience that they've had in the industry. So if I want to understand market, I want to see what's going on. I want to connect with people who are influencers in the market who talk to people all day long. They've already done the research. They've already done the homework. They've already seen where the gaps, where the opportunities are. In fact, they have the connections to introduce you to the market, right? So building the know, like, and trust, #1 is you need to build a level of understanding so that you can help your market. #2, before, during, and after. Indoctrination is not something that begins at the very beginning of a relationship. It happens before you start as a process, during your engagement with a client, and then after, as you keep the client, because the idea is that you want to continue to educate, to nurture your clients. So let's talk about before, right? So how do we indoctrinate before? Well, we need to put our authority to the market. We need to show people how we solve problems. We need to perhaps be visible or be able to have people search us out, or we need to run ad campaigns that speak to a problem that we solve so that people actually see that we're a solution or an option for them to solve that problem. So what is the communication, or what is the footprint that you put out there with your brand in the market? Are you running ad campaigns? If you're running ad campaigns, what are people being drawn to in terms of the information you're providing? How do they get to know you? Because here's the thing, in the agency world, especially if we're dealing with reasonable or sizable clients that are going to spend, let's say clients spending $100,000 or more on you, they're going to want to know a few things about you. And if you don't have the visibility, or if you don't have the relevant information that they're looking for to make them feel comfortable about choosing you, then they're just going to go elsewhere. Immediately, you're going to be bypassed for somebody else because you don't look like you fit the part. So this is really important. I know when you're starting out, you don't have the assets, right? When you're just starting out, and even as you're growing, you're building those assets. Generally, I find to build a really good agency, one that's had the experience and the cadence, is it takes you roughly a couple of years, 2 to 3 years, to really build a level of experience that where you can start to really get some real traction in the marketplace. Now, I know there's the exception to the rule where we've seen businesses grow from $0 to $1 million in 6 months. In fact, we saw one client grow their business to $1 million worth of revenue in 30 days from scratch, right? Those are very much the exception to the rule. There is a lot of knowledge, there's a lot of experience and a lot of understanding that goes into being able to achieve that particular outcome. That's not to say that that's not possible. I've seen people from scratch who don't know anything in the market go from $0 to $1 million worth of revenue within about 16 months, 18 months time. That is possible. Again, exception to the rule, because at the end of the day, there are 3 milestones as a business owner that you're going to have to go through. The first milestone is one that's based around mindset. You've got to be able to get to a situation where you're generating at least $100,000 in revenue, $10,000 to $10,000 a month minimum in recurring income or revenue, right? Or if it's 10 grand in your back pocket, you've got to be doing about 18 grand a month in recurring revenue, taking into consideration your costs and taxes and things that you pay. So that's the first hurdle, is the mindset that you can actually build a decent enough income or revenue for yourself to give you a level of freedom. The next mindset is actually to go from 100,000, 6 figures, to 7 figures. So what do you got to do? You've got to get into the sales and marketing mode. And in the sales and marketing mode is where you're going to build a lot of your assets. You're going to build your landing page. You're going to build your lead magnets. You're going to do your videos. You're going to provide people with the information, with case studies, with relevance. As you grow, your sales and marketing is an 80-20 rule from that mindset point of view to now building a business that's going to go and scale to 7 figures. It's all about sales and marketing, 80%. Now, if it's all about sales and marketing, that's about providing relevant information, relevant ideas, ways in which you help, resources that you provide that add value. These are all things that are part of indoctrination. Once you hit the $1 million mark, then it's all about management and leadership so you can actually scale. So then you're going to hire sales teams, hire marketing teams, hire customer service teams, hire HR, product development, marketing, administration, right? You're going to have a head of operations, and then you can scale that business because now you've got systems in sales marketing, you've got systems in developing and delivering product, you've got tenure, you've got data and results, and so it's going to be much easier for you. You're also going to get a lot more referrals as you scale and grow. So those 3 milestones. At 100 grand, it's all in your head, right? Your mindset of being valued at the point where you want to be valued of generating at least 10 grand a month. From there, you go to sales and marketing. It's all about sales and marketing, 80-20 rule, sales and marketing 80%, 20% fulfillment delivery. Then from there, we go to leadership and scale. Leadership and scale means building all the people, the systems and products so you can actually leverage and grow that business. Those are the 3 areas. But at each of these areas in the early days, you've got to show people that you can do the work. So how do you do that? Right? How are you going to show people that you can help them? Well, solve their problems. Understand what's going on and say, hey, let me fix that for you. Hey, let me have a look at something. Let me give you some understanding, a little bit of analysis and a process. And from that analysis to show you some of the things that you need to fix right now. And what if please hire me to help you fix that. Right? Or I can do a quick fix. And then, by the way, in this quick fix, you need to take some other considerations. If you want to, I'm more than happy to explore the idea of how we can work with each other and help you achieve that outcome. So the indoctrination is at some point adding value in the early stages. So in the befores, it's you might say, hey, I've got a web audit, or I've got I can do an audit on an ad campaign. I can do an audit on a Facebook campaign. I can do an audit on your SEO. I can look at the loading speeds or the conversion rate optimization aspects of your site, your landing page. You're providing some level of value, a give. Now, some people do this really well where they give the big give. Some people do where they're offering, some sort of incentivized type of lead magnet structure, right? So in the before, this also will attract clients. In the during, right? In the during, this speaks to 2 parts of your business: nurturing leads and then helping you convert leads, from nurture to conversion, right? So before, narrowing the during. In the during, I'm going to talk about sales process in a moment. I'm going to walk you through this. So in the during, what we're going to do is, what do they need to know? How do we build rapport? What levels of communication do we have? How often do we communicate? What is in those communications? How do we educate? So one of the things that we do in our agency is we have a video funnel. That video funnel is 7 videos. Those 7 videos are designed to indoctrinate a patient into feeling really good about the fact that they've made this choice of seeing this particular private practice or this physical practice, right? So it educates them about how they work, what they do. It answers all their questions, their frequently asked questions. It tells them what to consider, the things that they're going to be shared and shown, and what is going to go through the process. So through that process of the during, in that sales process, we are indoctrinating or inducting the patient to make sure that they're fully aware that they're safe, they're getting the best possible care, that they are going to be given options, and more importantly, that they're going to find their way to getting back to normal health and being out of pain, right? So during the process, indoctrination is going through that indoctrination of the during. Now in the after, it's all about relationship building and education, right? So one of the biggest problems, or one of the biggest challenges in the after part, is we oftentimes, and I've heard this many, many times, and lots of businesses I've worked with, they're sitting there, they're working with a client, the client, say, let's for example, I'll use an accounting practice. So the accounting practice will sit there and say, we've been working with this client, we've been doing their taxes for years. And the client comes in to do their taxes, and in their expense area, there is this thing where they've perhaps purchased some insurances, or they've gotten some legal advice, right, about business structure, and they've gone and paid somebody else. And so the accountant's sitting there with the client saying, you know what, we actually do all this stuff internally. We can help you with that because we have your numbers. We can help you with risk management. We can help you with structure. We can help you with auditing. And the client turns around and says to the accountant, I didn't know you did that. Even though it's on the accountant's website, even though it might have a list of words on the bottom of their documentation where it says, hey, for auditing and insurance and whatever, even though those things are visible, the client still chose to go somewhere else. So the reason why is the client generally doesn't know. They don't know what to ask, and they don't know what to look for. So what do? When the time comes, they're not thinking about their accountant. They'll go, oh, I need a lawyer for that, right? Or I need an insurance person for that, right? Rather than sitting down with the accountant and say, hey, we need to think about how this has an impact on our business. Now, if the accountant did their job properly and they indoctrinated and educated the client to all the different services they provide on a regular basis, and this is something that we do in the back end of our marketing campaigns, right, is we will pick, say, for example, knee pain. And we'll say, hey, when you got knee pain, here are the common causes of knee pain. Here's what happens if you persist with knee pain. Here's what happens if you have surgery. Here's what happens if you take drugs. Here's what happens if you don't look after yourself. So if you find yourself in any one of these areas, here's what you've got to do to get the help that you need. So we are specialists in helping people with knee pain and to get better. Look at Mary, look at Steve, look at Tom. These people had terrible knee damage and knee pain, and look at them today, walking around as if none of that existed. That's what we work and that's what we specialize in. So if you're experiencing knee pain, make sure that you book in with our knee pain specialist so we can actually make an assessment and provide you with a plan of care that's going to get you back to walking normal. That would be a campaign that we would run just for one service within a practice. So think about the clients that you work with. How many services do they offer that their clients don't even know about? So this is the before, the during, and the after of indoctrination. Right, so let's look at sales process indoctrination, right? So in the sales process indoctrination, we've got to look at our offer. What are we putting out there? What is the problem that we're solving to the market, right? So we might be sitting there saying, so for example, let's say we're dealing with, dealing with a remodeler, a home remodeler, right? And one of the things that remodeler realizes when people come to them, so this is a problem, right? So when people come to them, they ask for an estimate or a quote. And so the remodeler is going to go, great, let's sit down with our design team, do an estimate, do a quote, do the measuring, give you the prices, and here's your pricing, right? But the person who needs the remodeling done is going to go to 2 or 3 other remodelers and ask for exactly the same thing, right? They're not going to go to 1, they're going to go to 3, right? So if the remodeler does their job correctly, right, and has a very good sales process, they're going to sit down and walk the person through that structure and convert that deal. But in most cases, that doesn't happen. But if I know that the customer is going to go to 3 or 4 people, I know that. One of the things a remodeler would like to hear is, what if we made you first choice? What if our offer was to make you first and primary choice to remodel people's homes? If we were able to put in a process, identify that customer, walk through, filter that person, qualify that person so that they want to deal with you because you are the first choice. Is that something you're interested in? So most people, most business owners, if you look in the contract market, they want to be first choice. They love the idea or the concept of being first choice, right? So if they're first choice, right, that's a problem. Right now, you're not first choice. People are going to go to 3 or 4 people. You want to minimize the risk of losing the opportunity by maximizing the way that you deliver your service or take people through the process of investing in their remodeling job with you. So that's a problem. So if we're dealing with health services, oftentimes health services rely heavily upon referrals, and doctor referrals. So imagine if doctor referrals are drying up, and they are, right? If they are drying up, that means that a portion or a percent of your business is no longer there. So can we give you direct access to patients who need your support and help with plan of care, right? What is my offer? We specialize in giving doctors direct access to patients who need plan of care. Do you want to sell more plan of care? Yes, right? So notice I'm saying, I'm not giving you leads. I'm giving you what you want. You want a person who's got their hand up, has got a problem and needs a plan of care to get back to normal. Those are the ideal patients that you're looking for, right? Another offer might be, instead of offering lead gen, it might be the offer of, hey, what if we looked at ways of improving conversion rates and actually capturing more deals or more sales, as opposed to wasting all this revenue on advertising and marketing? What if we made your advertising and marketing work better, but more importantly, instead of working better, we actually closed more deals? Would that be something be useful to you? There is an offer, right? So we're going to show, or we're going to educate, or we're going to show people how that works in our initial process. What problem do you solve? How do you solve that problem? And are they interested in getting that problem fixed? So what is the problem? That's number one. Number two is, are they, is this something that they need fixing? And number three, are they interested in getting it fixed by you? Pretty simple, right? If the answer is yes to those three, you've got a prospective customer. So your offer is part of that indoctrination, that education. Phone calls, when you engage and talk to people and you're introducing, you want to ask lots of questions. You want to be of service and you want to help people. The biggest mistake a lot of people make on the phone is they don't know what to say, right? In most cases, most people go, well, tell me what the price is. So they go straight to the price. And the reason why they're asking for the price is they don't know what to ask. They don't know what else to ask. So the way that you handle or work with people on the phone, you need to make sure that they're aware of how they get the best possible outcomes for them. So the best way to do that is to ask questions. Say, look, I know that you're after value for money. I know that you want a great result and an outcome. If I can ask you a series of questions, and I want to make sure that I will absolutely guarantee you that you're going to get the best possible value for money. Is that something that's going to be helpful to you? They're going to go, absolutely, right? If you handle these calls professionally, if you answer or ask questions professionally, that is going to build trust in you. How you respond, how you engage is really critical. A lot of people in the lead gen or the lead service market don't handle leads or don't actually engage leads at all. Right? There's certainly not in a timely fashion. I was talking to one of our champions, Rob, and he did a huge campaign. He did a campaign. He kind of got overwhelmed with all the leads that he generated. He generated 460 leads. And the problem was that him and his team were madly trying to call these people. And here's what he had learned through this process. If he was able to get to the lead within the first 5 to 10 minutes, the conversion rate to a sale shot up by more than 80%. 80 to 85% of those people that actually were handled, right, at the time of within 5 to 10 minutes of the inquiry, of their inquiry for the lead, turned into a sale, right? Now, half an hour, it was still around that 70 to 80%. An hour later, it dropped down to 30%. An hour after they inquired, the conversion rate dropped down to 30%, right? Now, here's the thing. If they waited a day, 1 day, 24 hours, the conversion rate dropped down to 5 to 10%, 5 to 10%, right? If they waited more than a day, in most cases, the person didn't remember making the inquiry, or they had moved on to someone else. They moved on to somebody else. So the conversion rate over a couple of days dropped dramatically. So if we know that this happens, then what we want to do is we want to put a mechanism in place. We want to put a system in place to make sure that we handle those inquiries effectively as quickly as possible. One of the ways in which I do this in my businesses is if anybody makes the inquiry, as soon as I get an inquiry, I do have a piece of automation that will say, hey, thanks for reaching out. Really appreciate you doing that. You're important to me. What I'll do is I will actually engage with you at this time. Or here's a couple of times on my calendar to grab a time. Let's have a quick chat. So I'm responding to them as quickly as possible because my sales opportunity happens in my calendar. You book a time with me, that's a sales opportunity. But my goal is to get you there. So how do I get you there? I'm going to email you. I'm going to text you. I'm going to voice drop you. I'm going to call you to get to that appointment. I want to engage with you professionally as quickly as possible. If you do that with people, then they will say, hey, you're onto this, right? If you don't do that with people, the longer you wait, the more disparity you will have with those people and the more unlikely they are to buy. So in your process, part of the way you manage your inquiries is a way that you indoctrinate and educate your clients in that experience. Emails, your emails, very powerful way to indoctrinate. Let people know what the next steps are. You can map out your process in emails. Email number one will say, hey, this is how we work together. Email number two, these are the frequently asked questions that people have about what we do. Email number three, here's some people who have benefited from the very thing that you're inquiring about. Here's Mary, Sue, Tom. This is where they were. This is where they ended up, right? Email number four, I just want to make sure that we're getting together. We're super excited. It's very important for us to understand exactly what you're looking for so we can give you the best possible value. So there's 4 different emails in an indoctrination sequence to let people know what their experience might be, what they need to know. Questions may be answered before they actually ask the questions, right? Letting them know what the steps are. This is indoctrination. Having those pieces in the puzzle are very helpful because what happens is a person, now here's the thing, every touch point is another recognition of your name, your brand, your company. Every touch point, phone call, email, text message, Facebook post, or Facebook Messenger, Messenger bot. Every time they see a touch point, they see your name, your brand. Every time they see that, that means you're lifting the familiarity. If you're lifting the familiarity, then you're actually generating a much a stronger relationship. They're generating a much stronger relationship with you and your brand, your messaging, and your company, right? And you are becoming more visible to them. That's why most people fail at generating appointments when they go to the market, is they only try one thing. They might send an email and that's it, not even follow it up, hoping the person goes, oh, this is a great email, I'm going to call this company. It doesn't happen like that, right? There are exceptions to the rule, but it doesn't happen like that. You have to be very succinct, very relevant, very clear about why people need to be engaging with you, right? So emails are a very powerful way to do indoctrination. Next, discovery. Our discovery questions, our discovery calls are a way that we build rapport. Some people actually send clients a questionnaire to fill the client questionnaire back, get the client to send the questionnaire back, and then they hop on a call and they try and do a pitch for the client. The problem with that is, yes, there's some relevancy. Yes, the client has thought about their business. Yes, you've got some information, but there's been no real direct contact other than you sending a form and then sending it back, right? So what I would rather do is I'd rather get on the phone. If you're asking a client to spend 20, 30, 100, $200,000 with your services, the more times you physically, verbally connect, right, the stronger the relationship is. The more conversations you have, the stronger the relationship is. So I would rather do discovery in real time. And this is how I do discovery. Once we get them to a point of making an appointment, right, we do a qualifier. So we want to make sure that we're the right fit. If we aren't the right fit, then I'm going to put this person into a nurture pile to continually provide information, build my brand, educate that client, and indoctrinate them down the track, right? If they are a fit, I'm going to take them through my process. So the next step is we're going to sit down, we're going to do a discovery. I'm going to send you an email. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, but from there, we're going to make a time. So let's book a time in our calendar for this time. And we book a time, and then I might do a quick video. Say, hey, thanks for doing this. I really appreciate doing this. Super excited to get on this call. One of the things that we find in our discovery in this process is we can see how we can unlock hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of patient opportunities or revenue opportunities for your business. So I'm really looking forward to this process. I'm going to be seeing you on Thursday to go through a series of questions so we can actually draw on some key action points on your company, but more importantly, to look at your objective, to look at the reasons to why that's important. Number 2, to eliminate some roadblocks, bridge the gap from where you are to where you want to be and get some results for you. So looking forward to our time. That's discovery. Now, leading up to discovery, I always do a call before a discovery call. Say, hey, some of the things that I've been looking at in our preliminary searches, we've discovered some cool things. Remind me tomorrow when we're on a discovery call to mention those to you. So that's another touch point between the appointment and the discovery call. Now we're in discovery. In discovery, we're building rapport, we're answering questions, we're asking questions, right? We're finding out more and more, and we want to be very succinct. So we want to walk them through. So we want to make them feel comfortable. Say, hey, the more that we garner from you, the better the result that we can deliver. At the end of the day, we want to devise and construct a plan, your plan, that you want to execute on, right? So is it okay if we go through these questions? Yes, great. Ask intelligent questions. We teach people how to ask intelligent questions about understanding and analyzing how businesses work. We go through that entire process, right? So from the discovery, from that, we say, great, we've got all our ideas. We're very clear about what the objectives are. We're very clear about what's going on in the business, right? So the next step is for us to go away, devise and create a plan for you. And then from that plan, we're going to walk you through. And at the end of that, I guess, if you like the plan and you like the idea of us hitting those objectives and those targets that you wanted to go for, then I'll show you how we can work together. Are you cool with that? And they'll go, yes, absolutely cool with that. Great. So now I go away and we devise a plan or a pitch or a presentation, right? So the next part is our strategy session. So in that strategy session, here's what we'll do in strategy. We want to make sure that the main point is what they want to achieve, what the issues is. The main point is what are the problems right now that are stopping them from hitting those issues, hitting those objectives, right? The other thing is we want to establish very clearly why this is very important and why it's important now, not later, why they need to do something about it right now. Right, so it's on the agenda that they must do something, right? Or they're going to make a decision. Essentially, what we're getting to. So before the strategy session, I'll have a quick call, another point of contact, a touch point, a relationship building contact point, to say, hey, just touching base. Thanks for discovery the other day. It was really awesome. By the way, I found some really critical areas that if we did some tweaks, we could see some really significant impact on growth and percentage of revenue. Please remind me on our call tomorrow, our planning call tomorrow, about those areas, right? So I'm giving them something to look forward to. Again, building that trust, building that know, like, and trust, that excitement, right? A little touch point, very important. Now we get to the strategy session and we want to sit there and say, hey, how have you been so far? How's this process been so far for you? At the end of the day, I want to be very clear here. You know, this is not your first dog and pony or rodeo show. Feel free to say no at any time. If you don't feel that this is for you, you can say no at any time, and we can part at friends. But understand, if I feel at any stage that this isn't for you, I can also say no to you, and we'll still part as friends. Are we cool with that? Great. So three things that are on your mind right now that we want to get rid of or want to acknowledge is why this, why us, and why now. So why is this objective and outcome really important to you, right? Well, it's important for these reasons. So you've chosen to go through this process with us. What is it about? Why have you gone down this path with us? What have you? Why us, basically? And so, well, you've been very professional. You've been insightful. You've focused on all things. I'm getting them to sell them on us, on me, right? And then why now? Why not? Why is this important? Well, we need to do this right now. We've been sitting there, analyzing and doing all this sort of stuff, but we haven't taken the action. We need to take action now. We must hit that outcome, the objective. We've been wanting to hit it for the last 2 years, haven't been able to hit it. Now is the time. Great. I've got a must, right? So in the strategy session, I'm going to present everything they've told me, right? Again, building that rapport, right? And I'm going to feed it back to them and say, great, this is our demonstration. This is how we solve the problem. At the end of the day, this is your plan. I guess, what do you want to do here? Where do you think we should go to from here? And they go, I don't know. You tell us. Well, great. Is it okay if I walk you through how we work together? Yes, great. So what do you think we should do now? And they'll go, I guess we'll need to get started. And so in the strategy session, you're walking through this process. Now, the follow-up, if I don't close the deal on the spot, what do? You've got to make sure that they're aware of what they're investing in, why it's important for to do so based on value, and also at the end of the day that you want to be able to help them. So in your follow-up, you might do a quick email, you might even do a quick video and say, hey, thanks for doing this, really appreciate this. It's great to know you, and you provide this before you follow up, and you must follow up. So another touch point in indoctrination is your follow-up. So great, I know you've got to make a decision. I know you've got to sit down and think about this. What I'm going to do is, if I can give you a call at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon or 9 o'clock on Wednesday, which would you choose? You want to keep the follow-up within 24 to 48 hours, no longer. And they go, 9 o'clock on Wednesday. Awesome, thank you. I'll talk to you on Wednesday morning. Now, between when you're setting that time, that's when you will send some more indoctrination. Here's a couple of case studies. Here's how we're going to do. Here's a map of our plan. Here's what the investment is. Looking forward to talking to you on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Right? Confirm the appointment. Confirm the appointment, another touch point, right? Saying, hey, super excited about the idea of working with your company, did a little bit more homework, found a few more things, really excited about talking to you on Wednesday, right? Another touch point, right? your follow-up, and then customer experience. So imagine what I've outlined for you here in this conversation is an outline of customer experience all the way through. That's what I've outlined. Then from there, we go into, because now it's a professional approach, right? From the initial indoctrination, induction, going through that process. And now I want to acknowledge you. So if you've bought into my company, I want to say, hey, thanks. I appreciate you for choosing or trusting us to help you with this project. Super excited. Our team's excited. We have a process to indoctrinate and induct you. We survey you. We set you up in this process to make sure you're getting the best results and the best customer service that we can offer to make sure we're hitting those outcomes. And the idea is for the next 100 days is you want to build strong connection points and emotional connection points between you and the customer. If you can do that in the first 100 days, the client will stay with you for a long time to come, in that process. So moving right on. Indoctrination pieces, very interesting. Email is an indoctrination piece. Sometimes throughout your initial conversations and engagements, sometimes just even the initial stages, we might have anywhere between 4 and 13 emails that have gone out, educating, providing piece of information, linking to ideas. We have a funnel in Consulting Champions that we use. We give it to them. It has 11 emails and it has 5 content pieces that are there to nurture the relationship into an appointment, right? So it's educating, it's giving them ideas, it's explaining to them our expertise and how we can help and how do we understand the problems they have. These are in email, right? Next, social media posting. You want to remember, be careful what you put on online. If you're a professional company, you're dealing professionally, then you want to make sure that the stuff that you post isn't going to be offensive to your prospective customers, right? Because let me tell you, remember, people have a trust issue. Right now, they are looking at all the stuff that you're posting out there in the marketplace. So social media posting are things like, you know, what tools, resources, ideas, things that you can give, right? Maybe you're doing video, maybe you're doing lives, maybe you're building a community of people within a marketplace and you're going to invite people into that community. This creates indoctrination. This creates engagement, right? Lead magnets. We've all got them. Reports, strategies. One of the things we're going to be doing is I'm going to show you a really cool tool, how you can generate amazing looking reports, even pitch decks at the click of a button, and how you can use that to leverage yourself into a client, because it really positions you very professionally in the marketplace. But lead magnets, reports, information you provide, checklists, those sorts of things. Maybe it's a workflow diagram. Maybe it's a give where you walk people through a video walkthrough of solving a particular problem. These things are all supportive and helpful for indoctrination. Reporting. So you might, one of your things that you do, in fact, there's an agency I work with and they work with an association. And in that association, what they do is they have organized a free assessment of their SEO for their clients. So they do an audit, an SEO audit, and each client that has availability to do an SEO audit twice a year. You can SEO twice a year. So the association twice a year sends out emails on behalf of the company. Say, hey, it's time for your SEO audit to see where you rank in the marketplace. ABC agency is here to look after you. Here is the link to book your time. They're going to be reaching out to you to make sure that you take advantage of those audits, right? So this is what they do, is they do reporting. They offer reporting with an association. Now, they get a ton of SEO clients from this, a ton of SEO clients, just one market, right? In fact, they're doing about $9 million worth of revenue out of the associations they work with, right? But what they do is they provide the assessment tool to be able to make give the client a reporting and the structure to say, hey, you need to make some decisions. Competitions are performing better than you are. This is where you are. This is where the market is. Here's a strategy. You need to be thinking about a more focused approach towards your organic search. We can help you with that. This is their #1 client generation strategy, is to provide free, two times a year, free reporting within a market, one industry, right, that they give, this is their give, right, to the market. This does incredible indoctrination, incredible visibility, and builds incredible authority. Strategy outlines, right? So one of the things is, tell people how you fix problems, right? If there are 4 or 5 problems that you know in the marketplace, then show them how you fix them. Show them what you need to do, what they need to consider, and what has to be fixed. And then do a walkthrough video explaining how you fix them. Put that content out there. Use it in retargeting. You know, running a retargeting strategy on people that are in your list is a very powerful way to indoctrinate people to your message, to your brand, because they see you everywhere. This is another way that you generate indoctrination. Expert authority. So you want to build, so there's 2 sides of this coin. One, there's authority that you build out into the market. But the other authority you can build is in the minds of your exact prospect. You don't have to be world famous, a world famous expert. But if your prospect sees you as somebody that solves a particular problem consistently in the marketplace, and they see you at multiple touch points, all of a sudden, you don't have to be visible on the New York Times or the Huffington Post website. But what happens is you're actually building that cadence. As building your expert authority is showing or demonstrating how you solve the problem, right? You can, and that way you're building authority in the mind of the client or the target market that you're engaging. You don't need to be a world beater or a world leader or a world influencer. You just need to be somebody that's tapping into the mindset of the individual that you're trying to engage in the marketplace. So with that, I just want to, there's a lot of information that we've provided in the time that we've had here, but something you want to take into consideration that I'm doing, it's called the Website Sales Intensive. There is an amazing tool that my web audit are providing, which does incredible reporting, incredible presentations, where you can actually do very quick assessments on companies and use them to leverage your knowledge into a company, leverage your situation of how you can help people by doing something pretty amazing. So we're doing a website sales intensive on the 18th of June, a little over a week away at 9 a.m. PST, Pacific Standard Time. It's a 4-hour session, and we're going to be breaking down exactly how you can go and leverage yourself into clients using an amazing indoctrination tool to be able to engage, to have them pay attention to what you have to offer in the marketplace. This is going to be a really cool session. It's a 4-hour training on how to actively engage and generate clients at a higher level of pricing. The ticket price is $97, and we are also supporting a social global sustainability projects. For this ticket, we are actually going to be plumbing 3 homes with fresh water. We're going to plumb taps in homes, 3 of them. With this $97 ticket. We're going to pay for the education of 1 underprivileged child for an entire year. We're also going to be providing a beekeeping farm for a village in Kenya to, 1, support the village with an income, and also to provide nourishment in the village. So this ticket is a ticket for good, and it is a web event for good. It is a $97 ticket. If you go to websiteSalesIntensive.com, you'll see all the information about the actual event. And what's happening. And by the way, we are going to be limiting the number of tickets we sell for this event because we have a cap on the numbers of seats that we have. We have a whole bunch of people jumping in, but if you're looking for a way to stand out from the crowd, set yourself apart, be professional. Right now, the market is demanding that you are professional in your approach, that you are there to help and to serve. And this is a great way to use some of the mechanisms and tactics that I'll be sharing with you in this training. It is 4 hours intensive training on finding those leads, how you actually help those leads to hire you, and more importantly, to sell 5- and 6-figure deals. So if you go to websitesalesintensive.com, you can go and purchase a ticket for this ticket for good. It's a web event for good, supporting some sustainable projects, but you're going to have access to a private members area. There's going to be amazing resources. There's going to be scripts. There's going to be videos and training, and the 4-hour video and the slides from the presentation will go into that back-end members area for you once you attend the event.